are back. Thank you, all 375,000 people watching this. Thank you for sticking with us to that short break. We are back with Critical Conversations. If you are watching this on the social medias like TikTok or Instagram or wherever it is I can be bothered uploading this will be part 2, as I like to divide it into 2 parts. If you want to see the whole episode, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, where you can catch all of the action. We're back with Froth from Froths Minis.
Hi.
You all rehydrated?
Yeah, I got a big old massive cup of water here. My wife brought this cup home. It's actually hers. And then I was teasing her like, "That's like the world's biggest cup. What are you going to do that?" And then 5 seconds later, I'm like, "Borrow your cup."
That's how it usually goes, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our partners buy something, and we end up wanting either to have our own one, or we just sort of steal it when they're not looking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's totally a thing.
That's how I get
It's
everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of things that are things, while I have everyone's attention, just want to do a quick shout out to a couple of people. If you haven't already done so, make sure you check out Froths Minis, of course, at Froths Minis on all the social medias. You can find him on Twitch as well. I don't think you're too active on
Not
Twitch.
real active at the moment, no, because I'm between sort of deciding what to do next. I did a little bit of miniature painting on stream a while ago, but I'm at a different level of painting now, and I'll spend a lot longer on one little thing, and I think it'll be a bit boring for Twitch. So I was thinking of how could I jazz that up and what could I do, and it's probably a little bit like what you're doing now, almost do like a bit of almost like a conversation-y type of thing with some other miniature painters too.
Yeah.
Is something that I'm toying around with in my mind, and anyway, or maybe breaking it down into smaller steps and smaller processes on things and doing them live.
Or if all else fails, it's hard to overlook just a well-timed nip slip.
Yeah.
Yeah. That always gets the viewers engaged, and
certainly does.
Don't let them know when it's going to happen either. You got to really surprise the audience, just like Justin Timberlake did back in 2000 and whatever.
You see, as soon as I touch my shirt like that, and then we got another viewer.
Boom. 15 subscribers straight off the bat. You can't see it on the chat, but trust me, they're there. My OnlyFans account just went off the rails. Speaking of things that are off the rails, if you haven't already guessed by his handle and the topics of conversations and where they've gone up until this point, Froth is quite the painter of miniatures. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, you are a multi-award winning miniature painter / printer? Is that the right word? Miniature printer? Printer of miniatures?
Yeah, I print minis, but I don't get awards for printing minis.
Well, I'll give you an award.
I should. Yeah. Thanks, man.
I'll send you an award.
I'm down with that.
In the mail.
Thanks, buddy.
Gold medallion you can hang around your neck on your streams.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. No, it sounds really weird. Firstly, hearing something like award-winning miniature painter, because I don't see it that way in my own head. But yeah, technically, it's
true.
I guess I am.
It's true.
But it's there's different levels of awards and things like that, and all the rest of it. So, but I think miniature painting and art in general is one of those things you could do for a lifetime and still never master.
Well, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I haven't done this on Critical Conversations before because I love the sound of my own voice. I forgot to plug my headphones into my microphone so I can hear myself properly. I'm going to go back. I'm gonna do an edit where I'm just gonna cut you out of it completely so I can just listen to myself talking for 2.5 hours. It's gonna be like it'll be the Snyder cut. I'm gonna call it the Snyder cut of Critical Conversations. There'll be slow motion. I'll add some explosions in there. It'll be good. but I'm going to make you all wait for it. We're going to do something a little bit different. I am going to take a step back, and I'm going to hand over the reins of this particular stream over to you for a little bit to enlighten the Critverse and the Twitch community, the greater Twitch community as it is. Yeah, a little bit with your fountain of miniature painting knowledge. So I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna chuck up some images of some minis that you've done in the past. I'm gonna let you, take the spotlight here. So I'll see everyone again in just a moment. Enjoy this mini. This amazing, massive mini deep dive into mini painting.
A massive mini montage.
That's right. Watch out, Dune. This will be the movie of the year for next year. Anyway, I'll be back very, very soon. Over to you.
Okay. So I don't know how quickly these slides are going to come up and what pictures are in there, but we'll wait and see what happens when they come. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is one of the more recent ones, and there was actually a lot more work done to this after that picture was taken. But conceptually, I still really, really dig it. It was this skeleton kind of guy that I put into this dungeon type diorama. I had a lot of fun building that diorama. That was at Crimson Brush, which is a competition that they hold in Canberra for display miniature painting. And that one actually got best diorama in show, which I was just absolutely stoked about. I'd like to think, I think there was a lot of other amazing dioramas in there. Might not have been painting wise the best technically executed because I started running out of time. But that little guy holding the lamp, I've done a lot of OSL and things like that around it, and that was a great fun project to do, and I learnt a lot on that and made a lot of mistakes with it too. We ended up doing a bit of a resin pour at the bottom there as well, so we're going a little bit away from miniature painting and doing a whole going into the whole diorama. But there's a whole lot of theory behind setting up your diorama and making it look like really cool and appealing and attractive to the eye, and where it draws your focus to and why that's the focal point. And this one was particularly challenging because you can't see it in that picture, but in some of the later ones, that lamp he's holding in really had to be that focal point because it was going to end up being the brightest point, which is a weird thing because a lamp's quite a boring subject, but that's where it's drawn to. So what I ended up doing was exaggerating the shadow on that, or the lighting and the shadow on that wall behind him, which sort of offset that and then brought the character into the forefront of the composition, let's say. There we go. Okay, so I'd love to, if you do jump on my Instagram, there is a more recent picture of that. It's chucked on with a bunch of other ones, with some of the stuff that I've got from Crimson Brush. So now I'm working on the next pieces towards what I'm trying to bring to the table for another competition we're having in Sydney with the Sydney Display Painters Guild. So if you're going to be in Artarmon around July, I think it's somewhere between the 24th and the 26th or something like that. I haven't got the dates exactly, but even if you're not like fully into display miniature painting, it's definitely just worth walking by and having a look, because there's some really cool stuff there, and I guarantee your mind will be blown just by looking at some of that gear. I've seen people come along to these things and they have not painted a miniature in their life and got no idea what it's all about, and then they come to these things and they go, wow, that is amazing. And that's a really cool thing to be able to see on people's faces, and that's a little part of why we do it, because that's a little bit of that magic and imagination we have left in us, that sparks imagination in other people. It's like passing around some infectious, good, positive vibed inspiration and imagination, which is why I go by the handle of Froth, because it makes me think about frothing with excitement. Anyway, but let's have a look at that one. I can't see that one real well, but I don't even know if that's one of my ones, is it? Yeah, let's go to the next one. I need to make the screen bigger so I can see what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's one of my ones. Yeah. So this was I had a lot of fun with that guy. That guy's actually on my shelf broken at the moment because I dropped him and his sword broke. But there was an online competition with a company called DM Stash who designed this model. So quick shout out to those guys. Oh, and the last skeleton dude in the last model was a sculpt by Hera Models. So check them out as well. Anyway, so yeah, this guy's a little 3D print. And the focus for me on this one was, and I did fix up his little sash down the bottom there a little bit, but it was trying to play around with non-metallic metal effects and trying to get it, make it look like a really red, rich gold as well and make it shine out a little bit more. I'm glad to say I've progressed a lot more past this point, but I remember at that time I was super happy with my efforts there at that time, and especially with the face tones and getting the shading and things like that, and that was quite difficult for me at that time, but it came out looking really good, and I was quite stoked with it, trying to get the metal on that blade to look almost like a very cold kind of steel, because of the ground underneath him was kind of like some kind of icy rockish kind of explosion. Yeah, that was what I thought about that one. Long time's passed since that. That was going into a competition, and I was deciding between that and another piece that I did end up picking with a different one. Well, there we go. As a result of that competition, one of the prizes was to design your own miniature. And so I gave the concept to the designers from DM Stash, and this is Froth. This is me as a character. Oh, hang on, someone's just Sax. Yeah, all good. G'day, Sax. So yeah, this is one of the things the designers came up with. Based on some concepts that I threw out there. Had a lot of fun playing around with this guy. I'd just gotten some new paints at the time as well, which was from that competition as well. So big shout out. Thanks DM Stash, thanks Pro Acryl, and thanks to the sculptors and the designers. But this was a big step for me in playing around with non-metallic metals, especially as far as that front piece is hanging down. It's almost like a metal type loincloth or something along those lines. And of course I had to try and incorporate a little bit of bogan humour in there as well, and I've tried to paint a little VB logo on the side of his mug. But I was also playing around with that sort of glowing metal type molten lava type of look, which is completely unrealistic for any kind of practical hammer in any environment, but it wasn't in any environment. It's in a fantasy setting, so of course we can have that without burning the place down and being able to hold on to it. Why not? So playing around with shadows and lighting, and love that little rat nibbling the cheese. And I think out of all people that have seen this piece and held it, and I put that into a competition as well, that one of their favourite parts of all of that was that rat at the front nibbling that cheese. They're like, yeah, what about all the other amazing work on that? Oh no, that rat is cool. And that's the way we go sometimes with those types of things. Just ran into some rancid merchants in your pyramid dungeon delve. I think the DM was a little too accommodating with the items he let us buy. Oh well, that's okay. Let's break the campaign. Normally that means they're just going to throw harder enemies at your sacks coming up. This guy I'm still working on now currently. I'm calling him the Undead King, for want of a better name. This is a sculpt by Scale 75 who do a lot of paints and paintbrushes and things like that. So when I saw this guy, I really liked it, but I didn't know why and why I was attracted to it. And then I was thinking about some concepts around sort of like Lich King kind of vibes. So it's really good to have a story in your head when you're painting or coming up with some art or something along those lines. And what I did have in my head for this guy was sort of like an undead king who was rich and powerful and had everything. and then he was not living. Something's happened to him along the line, and he's lost all those beautiful, wonderful things he had in his life, yet he still wears the armor, which is now old and patinaed, and that's what he's got left that he's clinging onto. So yeah, I can't wait to show you some more pictures of that once it's finished. But yeah, that's been a really fun piece to work on. For reference, it's probably about, I don't know. Oh, here we go. I can do you one better. It's about yay high. So that's what he's looking like currently at the moment. I've changed the beard color a little bit, but that's where we're up to with him. Here we go. This guy was a much older piece. This was a pretty pivotal time in painting for me. Although I was getting some of like the colors right and basic things, I was doing a lot of experimenting with, I guess, paint, and I had the most of the colors right in the places, but there was no real texture or environment. I was running, how do I start bringing these models and the painting of these models to that next level, and create more nuance and environment around it. So very solid colors, not a whole lot of shading, not a whole lot of contrast, no hues or tones. I started to experiment with that in the legs, like you can see, and I was sort of thinking, how would the sun be reflecting off that, and would it be a yellowish tone? And then I was thinking, no, it'd be more like a blue sky type of effect, and that's why you can sort of see on one leg it looks more yellow, and I thought that'd be some reflection, sort of some secondary light bouncing off his sash and things like that. But and I remember I took this one onto Reddit, and I was just like, I put the picture up and I was like, hey, roast me, just lay it on thick just to see what people would think. And I think off that I got something like 420 comments. It exploded. Some people were really nice, some people were absolutely toxic, as you'd expect with Reddit, but that was the whole idea of the process, was to be humble about it and just let whatever the world thinks, let them pour it out. Overall, it was a pretty positive experience, and it helped me develop a lot as a painter, to move past that, and that's what led me along to this guy. This guy got a silver in the Guilds in competition, which was really amazing. And Andrew Buckley, who's from Melbourne, I believe, and an absolutely immensely amazing miniature painter, some of the best I've ever seen. And he was at that competition, and he came up to me and he said afterwards, oh, that piece was really cool, I really liked that, and that inspired me. And he ended up doing his own version, which looks better than mine, is absolutely amazing. But I remember when I was putting this one together and trying to get the colours in the face and things like that, I was looking at a lot of oil painters and how they approach their paintings, and trying to get that worn type of leather feel and bits and pieces, really playing around with those lighting effects. We can see how the bottom side of his face is really dark and it just really drops off. It gives so much more environmental sort of feel to it, and that's a part of what that difference was, coming from that last miniature, the lion, into something like this. The light's a lot stronger on that real certain aspect of the top right of his face, and it really draws that attention in, except for his beard's probably a little bit overpowered for the lighting there, but that's a little bit of playing around and getting used to things. But yeah, I was quite, it's probably still to date one of my most favourite pieces and one of the best works I've done. So yeah, if you want to buy it, let me know. It's still sitting on my shelf. No, I probably won't sell it anyway. But moving right on, here we go. Oh, Zaba Art. This is one of his pieces. Oh, sorry, that last one was called The Messenger from Galapagos Miniatures. This one is Zaba Art, and I think it's called The Dwarf. And he's obviously some kind of hunter guy, and has impaled this poor orc and put his head on a big shiny spike. Here in this one again, we're playing around with a lot of NMM on that, or non-metallic metal, trying to make something that's not metal look like metal without metallic paints. On the staff and on his cuff. Probably not the best pictures of this one, but it's pretty close. Again, playing around with that lighting and that atmosphere. Doing a lot of stippling, using those techniques and glazes over that to bring in different hues and nuances into different areas. I was quite happy with that. I don't think I feel like that piece was ever finished either, but I still put it in and brought it out. He looked so disappointed in my life choices. Is that the miniature? That wizard was very, very disappointed in your life choices, mate. No, I think in my mind, I think that wizard had like a lot of knowledge about a life or death thing that was coming up that was going to affect the whole world, and he was contemplating that decision. So this guy was just a little local competition. This was just a quick paint, just a little bit of mucking around. That's a war cry, I think, from the, not Warhammer 40k, but it's their other version called Warcry, which is more medieval type based. There's a bunch of people out there that play this game and they're like, man, you haven't got it exactly right. It's not that, it's this. And you're definitely right, because I don't play a whole lot, but I was just down at the local game shop and he goes, hey, yeah, we've got this one. If you want to paint that one up, have a go and put it in a competition. So that was got an award for the local little Warhammer store competition on that one. That was pretty cool. Oh yeah, this guy was great fun. This is one of those Max's Magnificent Minis, and if you haven't checked his stuff out, he's got a Patreon and a My Mini Factory as well, like DM Stash. Saw this guy and just thought, yeah, I've got to print him out and have a crack at him. He came out pretty absolutely smashing. Again, always trying to play around with NMM and get that better, and getting the lighting and atmosphere right on those muscles. Could have done the blending on the coat a little bit better, but I actually ended up sending this out to one of our esteemed Critverse party members. So I believe he still has that, and I hope he's enjoying it. But yeah, we're going for the reflection of the NMM off the it's sort of reddish on one side, reflecting off that demon-esque type person, with the big bear head and coat hanging off the back of him. That was a lot of fun to paint, that one, actually. So trying to balance out colours as well. Yeah. So, here we go. Yeah, and that was a work in progress shot of Froth the Belligerent is the name of the model by GM Sven. I remember thinking, am I really belligerent? But it was they've actually fit him into the storyline of their campaigns that they create as well. I just realised I'm bouncing my desk and my camera's going up and down, so apologies for that. I'll stop moving around. A librarian. This is a Warhammer 40k piece from the Leviathan kit. Just wanted to. I was looking at a lot of Elimina's Jura, I think, if I'm saying that right. He's pretty big on Instagram, does a lot of painting tutorials and things like that. Not that I looked at any of them, but I just saw some of these pieces and sort of said, yeah, that's cool, I want to do something like that and work on that gold with that blue type neon effect. They're little bits of wire that were just sort of painted up using a lot of those neon type paints as well. The fluoros, or the fleur as they call them, and a bit of dust on his boots. I had this in my mind that he was running through a like a tyrannid infested landscape. That one actually looks a bit better in real life than what the camera took. I went through a phase of taking photos and they were really dark. I've improved that a little bit now, and that's a part of the whole miniature painting thing as well, is coming up with nice photos to show people. Here we go. This is getting a little bit nicer. Love these guys. Just the whole concept around the way they're built and what they look like in their armor. Another 40k. These are like what people call the space dwarves. They do have a different name which escapes the top of my head right now, but they're real chunky sort of dwarves in this just absolutely ridiculously massive base armor, and that's what I love about these guys. Gone way far away from what the color choices are meant to be, but this is a little bit more classic. This is I think it's White Scars, just a little Warhammer dude rocking out, real basic sort of paint up. White is pretty hard to do, and he's very white, with a bit of freehand for the emblems and logos, a little bit of gold and MM on the chest and some dust. And this is a Ravaged Star piece. They released a couple of models to, these ones were 3D printed, and I put that on a bit of a backdrop and a diorama to go in their online competition. Didn't place in that one, but I know the reasons why, and I could have done a bit better with that. The ones that did win looked great, and I was between a few things and I was sort of rushing this one out, planning for a holiday and other things that were happening at the time. But I really loved the dark grey metallics. This guy I loved painting up. He was great fun. This Buccaneer, and that's a Age of Sigma Underworlds type character. So yeah, he went into that competition as well at Crimson Brush, playing around, trying to be really colourful and make things pop, which the judges didn't like too much, but I still enjoyed it. Working with, again, those skin tones there. That one actually had a lot of development after that photo was taken as well. So I can tell you that these photos come from Discord, because I'll just chuck them in this group on Discord, but they're not fully finished. But that's all good. This is going back, way back, another DM Stash 3D print piece. And I was getting some real cartoony vibes off this guy, but thought he had so much personality and would love to build a character concept around him at some time, just with just this green toxic smoke coming out of this gold bomb that he was holding. And it always reminds me of the holy hand grenade of Antioch from Monty Python's. And there's this green toxic smoke spewing out of it, and he's about to throw it, like it's almost glowing this green smoke, and that's why he's got that big green glow all over the back of his coat. But I had a lot of fun, particularly with his goggles and the kind of reflection and points that'd be coming off those, and playing around with different colours and textures on his coat. So yeah, we'll keep moving on with that. Yeah. So, and I think there's one more here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, right. Okay, cool. So, yeah, that was awesome. So this was one of DM Stash's competitions. And that one I showed earlier with it was almost like a samurai kind of looking guy, but he had the white hair and he wasn't a samurai. But the one I said that I broke, and I was going in a competition as well, and I was trying to decide between him or this piece. So the one in the middle is my one, and the other two were absolutely awesome little pieces as well. And they were done in 28mm scale, which is pretty tiny. I think I've still got this model on the shelf behind me, but I won't grab it now, because even if I hold it in front of the camera, you probably won't be able to see it anyway. But it was about that big. But that was judged by some international painters that were that are still really big in the scene, and they provided feedback and things like that as well. So most of the judging was done by them, which was really cool. Just having the opportunity for those guys to have a look at your work and hear what their feedback on it is was fantastic and amazing. But so she's a little blacksmith chick with the anvil there, and really playing around with that environmental effect on the sort of on the shoulder, as you can see there. It's like some kind of like moonlight coming in with this darkened area, and then the glow from the forge coming across onto the edge of the anvil there, and a little bit of red on the side of her. Judges liked it because it took out first. That was great. which I was a bit surprised about because I thought the vibrancy of the blue coat on that Raiden-looking character and the shading on the leg from Turbo Stash was absolutely amazing, and the NMM from Off Jenkins' team was really amazing too. So there was a lot of great competition in that contest, so I think they did really, really well with it. And I think they'll continue to do so. So if you want to check those guys out, please do so. But yeah, there's a little couple of things I've done. Yeah.
And I'm back, and I'm pretty sure I heard a lot of talk about BDSM, but I wasn't really paying that much attention. So we probably got off topic there a little bit, and I apologize to the people at home for whatever Froth may or may not have said about his at-home activities.
Beer, drama, sex, and magic. Yeah, that's D&D, isn't it?
That was good. I enjoyed that. Saxy Aussie, thank you for joining us as always. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully we can see you again really, really soon. That was just a little bit from Froth about sort of some of the minis that he's painted, a little bit of a preview, I guess, a little bit of a sneak peek about what he does in his spare time. Quite clearly has a lot of it.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much I don't have, but yeah.
Look, it's all about priorities. That's what we were talking about before we went live.
Yeah.
Speaking of priorities, it's almost time to bring this one to a close. We've been here for almost 2 hours now, but before we do, let's talk a couple of little things. I've got a couple more questions for you before we wrap this one up. First of all, just a couple of questions about miniature painting. We've seen some of your work right now. If anyone else wanted to get into miniature painting right now, what would be your word of advice for them?
Understand what your goals are and do it for the reasons that you want to do it. If you want to paint an army up, just jump in and have some fun with it. It's all about having fun either way, and enjoying the process and enjoying the journey. No one's going to come in and paint something absolutely ridiculously amazing straight off the word go. It takes time, and you've got to work on the theories and understand the practices and start putting them into play. But if it's kind of like different types of painting. If you want to paint something just for a D&D tabletop and it's 2 colors and splotchy, but you like it, then that's what it needs to be. That's amazing, and that's good. And you've done something that maybe someone else hasn't, and that's good fun, and you should be proud of yourself for doing so. Be proud of every step you take. If you are just starting off, keep the first miniature that you paint, because it's always an amazing thing to go back to. I've still got mine up on the shelf, and it looks like a train wreck, but I love it, and I'll always hold on to it because it's a good reminder of where I started and when I came into the painting journey. But yeah, then a lot of people might evolve into like painting armies. That's probably the most common sort of area where people will get into painting. And
we're talking about, of course, painting armies of plastic miniatures. Don't go out and just find your local army base and start painting. Okay, kids, don't do that. It's not. I did it once.
Yeah. They don't appreciate it.
They don't. No, they really don't appreciate art.
Yeah.
Not like us.
And good night, Sax, by the way. Yeah. So I think a lot of people become or get into the display painting side of things from painting 40k armies and D&D miniature pieces. For me, it was like, I just think I can do it a little bit better next time. And then the next time happened, and then I thought, I could probably do it a little bit better the next time. And I got a little bit obsessed with the theory and just carried away with it. And I enjoyed the process. And that's what it was about. So just enjoy the process.
Just don't have any standards. Just don't have standards.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah.
That's how I get through life.
Yeah, I mean, miniature painting is one of those things where you can spend a ridiculous amount of money on paints and gear and brushes, airbrushes and this and that and stands and all the rest of it. And if you want to do that, that's cool too. But you also don't have to. If you've got some basic paints and you know how to mix paint to make other colours and you've got a couple of basic brushes, then that's pretty awesome. That's a good place to start off.
Just quickly, any advice about where someone can get a hold of miniatures and paint if they want to get started?
Yeah. So there's a guy I'm doing some 3D prints for at the moment. These are probably more on the display side of things. But here we are. I'm wearing his shirt right now, actually.
Look at that.
Spec Mod Models. He's got a website you can check out. He stocks a bit of the AK range of paints and brushes and things like that. And he's got a pretty broad collection of miniatures, both historical and fantasy, for those types of painting, which is more display type painting. If you want 40k armies, you know where to go for that. D&D, you could get Wizards of the Coast stuff from most of your local gaming stores, or check out your local online 3D printing enthusiast. We're starting to bring a couple of 3D printed display models to Spec Mod as well. He's an ex-war vet too, so it's helping out a guy that's helped us out, and that's what I like about that. And he enjoys the painting side of things as well.
Yes.
So yeah,
I always advocate for helping out sex war vets.
X, I said.
Oh.
X.
Okay, well, help them out too.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But if you find yourself a sex war vet, help them out. They need all the help they can get. That damn,
I should have known that would have taken a turn.
that damn sex war from 1978. We lost a lot of good men. Lost a lot of good men
Stuff
out
was
there.
flying everywhere. Yeah.
Whole new meaning to shell shock.
Put your helmet on.
Before we go too far off the rails, a couple more questions, and we're gonna wrap this one up. We talked a lot about tabletop RPGs.
Yep.
Rapid fire questions now. What's your favorite tabletop RPG?
I'm quite liking Cyberpunk, actually.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Good. I love driving these conversations. How do you see tabletop RPGs evolving in the near future?
Thinking that Kickstarter's been a huge thing, especially for the more indie type ones. There's so much broad range of different concepts coming out, which is amazing to see. And there's a whole little niche and a whole sub community there around that. I'm thinking that there's still a lot more room for that to evolve online, especially with 3D models as well, because I'm waiting to see people. I know that there's a couple of websites out there that you can sort of create a bit of a miniature or a character on those, but I think that they will become more advanced in time, especially with the amalgamation of artificial intelligence. So there might be like a chat GPT, hey, this is what my character is. Come up with something that's like that. And not only do you get sort of like character art, but I'm thinking you'll start to see these softwares and programs be able to create three-dimensional models as well. And I think in the future we'll see those maps and the systems that we play on going into three-dimensional as well. I know that there's a three-dimensional one already out there. Fizz knows the name. I can't remember.
There's a few, yeah.
Yeah.
Even
so that's
Wizards are developing their own one as well.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
keep your eyes open for that. Shit. What advice would you have for anyone who wants to start out playing D&D or tabletop role-playing games?
Just start.
Just start. Just get the books.
Just start.
Just grab yourself a dice and start.
Yeah, because I remember when I was looking at it before I started, I was getting into a research kind of hyper-focused loop, and it was like, I can look at everything all day long, but unless I actually play a game, there's not much point. So, yeah, just get in, find a game, start.
Last but not
You said
least.
rapid fire. I'm trying to rapid fire. Yeah.
No, that's all right. I misread that cue there. I thought there was more coming. I'm like, and then I completely zoned out thinking about funny things to say. And then I wasn't paying any attention. Last one. Any advice for new DMs?
Just start again. Just start running a campaign, whether it's with your dog or your cat.
Just do it.
little Lego men, or your friends if they let you. Your first time GMing probably won't be fantastic, but that's how you get better. And life's meant for making mistakes and learning from them and getting better. But that's the way it goes. And I think a lot of people become fixated on, I must understand all the different rules in the book and every single word and memorize all of that before I can start. No, you really don't have to. Just get some of the basics. And if you play in some games with some other people, you'll learn those basics. And that can sometimes be a good way to learn before you run a campaign, to get a bit of a basis of your understandings.
That's good advice. At the end of the day, you can sit there, read books for the rest of your life, and you'll never have all the information that's out there for tabletop role-playing games, because there's so much out there. Just sit down, get some buddies together, get some random strangers off the street, kidnap someone, black bag, zip ties, the lot, sit them down and make them roll some dice with you, and I guarantee you, you're gonna have a fun time. It doesn't matter how well you know the rules or don't know the rules, as long as you got some voluntary strangers or good friends to roll dice with. I guarantee you, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna have a good time, just like we did tonight. So yeah, I just want to say, huge thank you to Froth from Froth Minis again. That's at Froth Minis on all of the social medias if you want to check that out. Before we do go, I will say that this episode will be going up on YouTube sometime later. We'll do short 10-minute segments that we will chuck up on all the social medias for you to check out, little teasers to bring people over to the YouTube channels. Make sure you give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, and whatever other weird technological stuff people do on the social medias. It helps us out. It helps out Froth as well with his, streaming and miniature painting and D&D streaming experience. And being small channels like we are, every little bit helps us bring more ridiculous content to a wider audience. These will also be going up as a podcast version sometime in the future, so if you could leave us a review and a rating or wherever you're listening to this, that would be amazing. Make sure you join us. Tonight's Monday, so tomorrow night we have the next episode of Kaleidoscope of Conflict, and that'll be at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, live right here on Twitch. That's featuring Christian from Hermes D&D Services. They are doing a 3-part Star Wars special, so that is Edge of the Empire, Shadow of the Empire, whatever it is. It's the official Star Wars tabletop RPG. It's pretty cool. We've got 6 players in that one, I think, or 7. Is it 6 or 7? I don't know. And it's something like that. They have too many players, but it's great. Then Wednesday, I might be having a night off. We'll see. I might be sitting down to do another Critical Conversations as well. So, keep your eyes on the Discord. If you haven't already, join the Discord. You can use the chat command _Discord on our Twitch channel, or you can find those links on our social medias and all that kind of stuff. Thursday, the next episode of World Render with Mark and the crew. That is 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, live on Twitch. Again, more D&D 5th edition roleplay, combat. They've got everything. They've got an amazing cast of players, so make sure you check that one out. That is a homebrew world. And speaking of homebrew worlds, make sure you check out Renegades, Rogues and Runaways. That's on Friday at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time with DM Loki from Loki's Lounge. And I believe we'll be back on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time with episode 2 of Beware the Witching Hour, featuring DM Grace and yours truly, as well as an all-star cast. And that pretty much rounds us up for the rest of the week. So if you have a love for tabletop RPG, D&D content, make sure you follow us. And again, huge thank you to Froth for sitting down and enlightening us about miniature painting and his experience with D&D, tabletop RPGs. As always, may all of your 20s be dirty, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Good night, everybody.
See ya. Thanks.